Thanks for tuning in, Guardians. So this weekend, I played a lot of Battlefield 4 since the new patch came out. I wanted to see what was going on with that. And it brought me to an epiphany, which is that it is the first time since Destiny has come out that I have not wanted to smash my controller against my gaming monitor. Destiny has been such a rage-inducing, horrible mashup of a game. It's also a good game in some aspects, but for the most part has so many flaws, and that's what I wanted to touch base on today, is what I find wrong with Destiny. And the first thing I'd like to talk about is the story. I mean, the story is just horrible. It is one of the worst stories I've ever played in a video game. It is not linear in any way, shape, or form. It has no value. The characters don't mean anything. And 99% of the game playing through the story, I felt completely confused and lost. I had no idea why anybody was doing anything that they were doing. And it was just, like I said, a rage-inducing experience when the ghost would say something silly, and I'd be like, well, what the hell is he talking about? Because this makes no sense in respect to the story that we've heard so far, if you can even call it story. So, and the repetitiveness of the missions I also find incredibly frustrating. When new content comes out, like the Queen's Wrath, and it ends up being the same shit that you have played over and over and over again already, marketed as new content, and then the rewards for the content is so little that it doesn't even matter. It's ridiculous. So, the other thing that I find problematic with the story is it seems like they just made up a bunch of cool names or silly names for things and thought that was story. So, The Fallen, Rasputin, Vex, Cabal. I mean, it's just ridiculous. I mean, that's all their story is an amalgamation of a bunch of random, cool-sounding names, and if that's what they wanted, I guess they hit it right on the head there. The other problem I have is the itemization system. So, a lot of people are complaining that the items take a really long time to find, which is a legitimate complaint, and I actually also have that problem. I mean, it's a little ridiculous that purple items take a while to find, and people say, well, the loot is more meaningful if it's harder to find. And I would argue that if you look at a system like Diablo 3 or Borderlands, where what you would have is a lot more items, it's just some of them are more impactful than others, and you can scale up as you find them, I think that would be a more impactful system, and it would also feed that loot addiction that we get all the time. That popping of treasure that falls onto the ground, and you see that purple engram and you get really excited. And yeah, you know, it might be understat valued compared to another item of the same type, but at least you're making progress, you know, at least you're finding something, at least you have the ability to turn it into shards. And I think that's what a lot of people, they haven't been concise as to what they mean when they say it takes too long to get loot. But when I step into Diablo 3 and I find 30 pretty ugly, terrible, bad items, and then I find one good item, that still doesn't take that long, but you feel like you're making progress the whole time, even if you have to disassemble all the loot you're finding. And Borderlands has the same thing, it's just the amount of loot. So, I mean, you only have 10 items per slot or so in this game for each class, so you can't really just like throw loot out like candy, but if you assigned it, you know, random stat values, then you could throw it out like candy, and you would be able to slowly build up your gear, get that really good lucky roll, that perfect roll that everybody's aiming for in a game like Diablo 3 or Borderlands. And the light level of items really also ticks me off, and the reason why is because it's so necessary to have this light level that you can't really customize your gear. I mean, I remember I had just a really badass looking setup when I was like level 16, and I have raid gear now, raid gear and exotics, and that level 16 setup blew it out of the water. It was just so awesome looking, and I'd like to be able to carry some of that over, but the amount of items and the fact that you need light level to progress kind of ruins that aspect of the game. I mean, the only thing they could really do now is either remove the light system completely or add a transmogrify system, both which would require a lot of time and effort on their part. I think the light level was a horrible idea to begin with, and if I remember correctly, there was an MMO that actually had a light level system. It was like Conan or something, and it failed so hard that they had to completely revamp the game. They had to completely remove it. And I just think that those are some great ideas to get the itemization rolling. Is if they would have had more items to begin with a wider range of stat values on them, and just to not have the light level in the game at all. And now we have the largest problem in this game, at least in my opinion, which is the Crucible. I mean, the lag in the Crucible is ridiculous, and I have a great connection, and I'm almost positive what it is it's not even the netcode of the game, it's the fact that it has a horrible matchmaking system. I noticed that I have the biggest lag during East Coast peak times, and it's probably just because it's not matchmaking you in people in your local area, it's matchmaking you people cross-continent, giving you 100 millisecond pings. But I would really enjoy if they could just really get the PvP a lot tighter in this game, just due to the fact that I really fall back on PvP, especially in a competitive aspect, while I'm waiting for new content to come out. This happens in World of Warcraft for me. A lot of games like that where you just wait for the new content to come out by playing in PvP because it's fun, it's competitive and every match is different. You're facing different opponents, so it's something new every time and it keeps me interested. But with the amount of lag in the Crucible lately, I have just wanted to just bang my head against the wall. It has been so infuriating to lose a gunfight and be like, oh wow, I lost that gunfight. Then the enemy goes around the corner 3 seconds later, dies, and you get the kill. And that is just frustrating because it means you actually got the guy. But because of the horrible matchmaking in this game, I mean, it was just essentially kill trade. And kill trades happen way too often right now. I think what they do need to do is create a Call of Duty option, which would allow you to choose the people you're matchmaking against, like West Coast or less than 50 ping. Anyhow, those are the gripes I have with the game. Thanks for watching. If you liked the video, like and subscribe, and have a great day, Guardians.